Hey everybody, and welcome back to Brutally Honest Reviews, only on the Brutally Honest Network. Here today, we're reviewing one of the best movies of the year, in my opinion, Green Book, which stars Viggo Mortensen and Mahershala Ali. I know I'm saying it wrong, and these guys tried to help me, but it's too late. So this movie is about, basically it's about in the 60s, right?
Yeah.
62.
The 60s? 62?
Yep.
Takes place in 1962 and is about a famous traveling music trio called it was his name, Don Shirley, the Shirley Trio.
Shirley band.
The Don Shirley Trio?
Yeah.
We're watching this one. I'm pretty sure it was the Don Shirley Trio.
I think you're right. Sounds good.
And it was the one black guy, Mahershala Ali, and two other white guys, well, foreign, but like they were white. So it was this trio, this musician trio, and they are traveling the country. So they're traveling the country, which is kind of unheard of for a colored musician to be able to actually do that because of all of the racism and basically just general unsafety and unsavory people that you'd run into, I guess. Segregation.
That's the word you're looking for.
Kind of. So Viggo Mortensen in this movie, he plays a guy who is basically known for being a tough guy, a guy who can basically talk anyone into anything, and if they don't answer to that, he'll just beat them up. So this movie is kind of just about their bonding over this course of this movie, when Viggo Mortensen gets hired as the driver for specifically Don Shirley of the Don Shirley Trio. Let's talk about like general. What did you think about the movie, Rob?
It looked good to me from the beginning, from all the previews, but where this movie really surprised me is that it was a lot funnier than I expected. Viggo Mortensen was hilarious in it.
What was his character's name again?
Viggo Mortensen.
That's not his character's
I know.
name.
Harry?
No.
I think it's Tony.
Tony?
Tony.
It was Tony.
It was the most stereotypical.
Because I remember Shirley yelling, Tony!
Tony
Yes,
Spaghetti.
it's
several
definitely
times.
Tony.
It's Tony Spaghetti.
Tony Spaghetti.
This is all a true story, too.
Yes,
Yeah.
this is based on a true story.
And the Green Book is actually... It's called the Green Book because the Green Book is basically a travel guide for black people. It gives the list of all the hotels and restaurants that they're welcoming in the Deep South. And the manager tells him specifically to look in this Green Book for places that they're going to have to stay. Occasionally, they might have to stay at different hotels. Mm-hmm. Can't eat at certain restaurants. And throughout the movie, their bond really grows. And you see that. I really enjoyed their chemistry they had together. Mm-hmm. And Viggo Mortensen was hilarious in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, that really can't be said enough. I've never seen him in anything comedic.
Yeah.
Basically only The Lord of the Rings, Hidalgo, and what is that, Eastern Promises?
Yep.
All good movies.
And
but
History of Violence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not this kind of
Not
character, though.
Comedic
Never.
at all.
Usually always like super dark.
Yeah.
Like dark past.
Which
like,
he also does well. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
He played a very good goon in this.
Yeah.
That's the perfect word.
Yeah.
Goon.
But I thought this movie was fantastic.
Yeah.
Definitely one of my favorites of the year, I would say.
Yeah. As of today, I'm giving this best movie of the year. I haven't seen The Favorite yet, which I've been hearing a lot of things about, but like I think this is probably my favorite movie of the year. No movie this year has had me leaving the theater feeling like I never even got there. Like I felt like I just got there and I felt like I gained something, which sounds like super, super, super spiritual. And I went in there and I was surprised at just how much emotion it captured without going over the line of being cliche. Like, they had a lot of cliche moments in there, especially the fried chicken scene, and that ended up being hilarious, and I think he enjoyed the chicken.
Of course
Of course
he
he
did.
did.
Yeah.
Licking his fingers. He even enjoyed throwing the bones out the window.
Yeah, yeah. And there's a funny scene after that. So over the course of this movie, these two characters, they kind of I'm gonna get to you. They go through like this bond, and yeah, no, I'm just gonna pass it over to you. I loved the movie; it was fantastic.
Well, we're just doing what we thought first, right?
No, I know. Yeah,
Okay.
I went overboard.
All right. I know we're all very excited about Green Book,
Mm-hmm.
but I also loved this movie. Like Rob said from the trailers, I was like, we're definitely seeing that. I thought the trailer was hilarious, and it just didn't even do the movie justice for how funny it really was. I got mad, I got sad, I got happy. I felt the whole spectrum of emotions with this movie, and I thought it was just so well done. And I liked that it was based on a true story because you got to see at the end like the real photos of the people, and it just made you feel like even more connected to the characters. It was just really definitely my favorite movie of the year as well.
Yeah. So talking about like racism in movies, we've seen a lot of movies this year that kind of take on the topic of racism, and more of like I feel like every movie has been more and more like pushing the boundary of like what's acceptable, but also like ending up being better off for, I think in general, for both sides of the community. You know, we had Black Klansman, we had Sorry to Bother You, which also approached racism and segregation. Very strange movie. What else did we have this year? I know we had several movies the past couple of years, but this movie, I think Widows probably took in a little bit of that as well.
That movie, The Hate You Give, we haven't seen, but
Yeah, that movie.
that one's definitely race heavy.
Yeah, and so basically, like I think it's right now is like filmmakers in general are trying to get people together, where I feel like the media is pulling people apart. That's what I feel like is happening right now, but I don't know. Do you guys think that's a possibility, right now?
If they're not trying to do it purposely, it definitely seems like that. And this movie definitely, I think, portrayed coming together better than the other two. 'Cause, I mean, this is really the only one where it had a happy ending
Right.
Yeah.
between...
Well, I think... I didn't mean to cut you off. Sorry.
Oh, it's fine.
I think that this movie did a great job of showing not only development on one side of the relationship, both of them were made better because of the other one. Where, like Tony brought Don Shirley out of his kind of closed shell and made him feel like he had a family in the end. And whereas like he was kind of just, with his little butler guy or whatever you would call him, that was kind of like his only friend and his only family, and he really didn't interact with anyone. And Tony kind of showed him like there's more to life than just playing your piano. Like you need to have some sort of relationship with people. And on the other side of the relationship, we saw Tony in the beginning throw glasses away just because the two black guys that were working in his home drank out of them. And he went from being that guy to inviting Don Shirley to his Christmas dinner. So like he made a complete transformation throughout this film. And I thought they did a really good job of balancing both of them and their growth from like both sides of it.
Yeah, they did. And then like all those scenes that we saw, just like kind of character building, where like different like hardships that they face. Usually it was Don Shirley who'd end up getting into trouble, and then Viggo would come and bail him out. Tony would come bail him out. Like the bar scene where they were basically picking on him for being in a white bar because he wanted to go have a drink because he was too much on his mind, and then Tony kind of come and basically pretend like he had a gun just to get him out of there, and it turns out he did have a gun.
Spoiler alert, he did have a gun.
Later in the movie, he scared them away, which kind of showed like restraint. It showed that Tony was not just stupid, that Tony actually was very street smart, and he was just very unintelligent when it came to not practical, but classical or more what would you call it? More like sophisticated. When it comes to more sophisticated knowledge, he wasn't really.
He wasn't book smart.
Yeah, he was just
But he
street
was
smart.
street smart.
And then we saw also when Don Shirley gets lonely, he's a closeted gay man. So we see him going to the YMCA. Well, we don't see him going to the YMCA. We hear the call afterwards where Tony has to go pick him up at the YMCA, where he was doing it with some guy in the stall or in the shower. And I guess the cops came.
Yeah.
And then that scene where he kind of he convinces the cops.
Bribes him.
What does he do exactly?
Gives him some money.
Gives him money.
Yeah. He
Oh,
bullshitted. He bullshitted them.
A
He
donation
bundles
to the force.
Yeah.
Like, when you guys look nice in a new new suit, I just walked by that store down the street. He like basically just schmoozed them into walking away.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting to see how, as each of those kind of problems occurred and interactions, we saw Tony transition from defending Don Shirley because he felt it was his job as his hired driver and bodyguard, but then it slowly became defending him because he was his friend. And you could clearly see in the way that he handled the situations and how he responded to people that shift in his thinking, which I thought was really well done.
Yeah. You can see his heart kind of come out.
Right. Because even like at the end with his family, and when they're kind of like making jokes and he says like, don't call him that. Like, he wasn't even there and he was defending him at that point because he felt like an actual friendship with him and family. So I thought that was nice.
Yeah. and also at the YMCA, remember when he told him he told him, my job is to go with you everywhere. From now on, I'm going with you everywhere. And then Don Shirley goes, well, I assumed this would be the one exception.
Yeah, right.
But you could see that, like, at that point, like, they both realize that they like each other more than just job and
right.
Hired and hiree.
Employer, yeah.
Yeah. What did you guys think about when he was writing the letters to his wife? I thought that was pretty hilarious. And then later on in the film, when they're at the dinner party at the very end, Christmas dinner.
Shirley.
Yeah, she knows. She knows.
Oh, some of those letters he wrote himself were very childish.
Yeah. They'd be entertaining to some.
I'd like to read some of those. It'd be a lot like proofreading a friend of ours' high school papers.
Yeah.
He's got horns growing out of his head and hooves.
And then Adrian Brody.
I thought it was a nice moment though when like later on, after a few letters have been written and they were in the room together, and he says, Don Shirley's like, hand it over, let me edit it. And he's like, no, I got it. And then when he reads it, and he's like, you're like a house. But then it ends up actually being like a nicely said letter. And he's like, yeah, Tony, you got it. And I was like, oh, that was cute. They just had so many like moments like that made like heartwarming moments, but it was also a hilarious movie. So.
Also, Viggo Mortensen was like a monster of a character, eating an entire pizza, just folding it up.
Evan just kept going, that's you. That's you.
Thanks.
I was like, he's my spirit animal. He folds the pizza, the whole pizza in half.
Oh, you.
Yeah, you kept saying that to me the whole movie. You were like, that's you. That's your spirit.
And after his job closed down for a little bit for renovations, he was making money by beating fat men at hot dog eating competitions.
Oh, that was funny. That was funny. I could see Gabe actually doing that, though. Like, actually doing that.
He'd try. He
hot
wouldn't
dog
win.
No. You can't beat one of those professional eaters.
Oh, God, that was gross.
It's impressive.
Painful to watch.
If you watch it's even grosser watching like the real competitive eaters.
Like the actual film competitions.
Because they have like strategies where like some of them will like dip their all their hot dog buns in water and just soak it together and just chew it.
It's disgusting.
So nasty.
Yeah, it's disgusting. The more room is the philosophy.
Yeah, no thanks.
Yeah, I don't know.
I like to appreciate my food.
Some people just do eating contests just so they can eat for free. Like, literally.
I guess.
Not my thing. I've tried.
You've tried.
Just kidding. But yeah, no, this movie was awesome. I don't remember who directed this, but I think right now it's in limited release.
This is probably almost done on its theatrical run.
Really?
Yeah.
Probably. Because it came out in, I want to say, early November.
We saw it a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was never wide release.
No.
I don't think it was ever intended to be wide release.
It's really
Or
sad.
at least they never like announced that it was.
It probably met just the minimum requirements to be eligible for
How do they determine
award season. It has to open in a certain amount of theaters
that? Oh.
That's fucking
for a
stupid.
certain amount of time.
Well, that's dumb.
Well, it was great, so
Yeah.
if you can find it, see it. Definitely.
VOD.
I
probably
talked about
pretty
this. This
soon.
was one of the movies that, one of the few movies that after we saw it, number one, I remembered every single part, which these two can attest that does not happen very often.
Yeah.
Number two, I did not fall asleep. And number three, I talked about it for like 3 days straight afterwards. Every single person I talked to, I was like, you have to go see this movie, and told them the whole thing because I just loved everything about it. I don't think there was anything that I would have changed about it. I think the length of it was good. The amount of humor balanced with the drama was good. I liked all of the characters. I really don't think there was anything about it that bothered me at all.
That's another thing. Even though it was mainly these two in the movie, everyone in this movie played their part really well.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
His wife was great. The two bandmates were great. And even their relationship with Tony kind of grew a little bit to them. Not wanting to interact with him, kind of even tattling on him.
Yeah.
To at the end wanting to have dinner with him and celebrate the end of the tour.
Yeah. I forget, halfway through we end up seeing that they're traveling around the nation and they run into one of Tony's old, like, you know, maybe
mob
not
buddies.
mob, but mob buddy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he runs into a mob buddy and you can see that he kind of weighs the options, but he ends up inevitably not following through with that.
Oh, right. Because he says, like, I can give you real work, or whatever he said, right? Yeah. I think I went to the bathroom during that part, but I remember.
Yeah. And then multiple times they get pulled over by the cops in the movie. The first time went absolutely terribly. They go to jail. The second time, towards the end of the movie, it's Christmas night. I really liked the scene because they didn't just go, cops in the 60s were bad. They actually showed that it's good, some good, some bad. So the cop let them go.
North.
Well, because as they were traveling north, it gets less segregated and less racist.
That's also
why
true.
It was showing that juxtaposition. But yeah, the fact that they got arrested literally just because it was dark, like, and they were out past the curfew for a black person in the 1960s.
And you could tell
the
the younger police officer didn't want to do it.
Right. He's like, I can
It was
just
the
look through
older
the
one.
window.
He's like, oh no, it's fine, I got it. He's like, get him out.
Yeah.
And then he has to call Kennedy.
Oh yeah, he
called
to
Robert
get him out of
Kennedy.
jail.
I know that that Don Shirley didn't think that was cool, but back in the 60s, that would be pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
That's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Anytime you can flash a call Kennedy card.
Yeah. One other thing that I liked in the movie is, like, the course of the movie, like, you see Tony first, he's kind of like, he doesn't give a shit about what Don Shirley is doing with his music. He doesn't give a shit. But then he hears him and he starts to really get into it. And by the end of the movie, he's really just like, he's like watching him intently. Like, he's captivated everybody. And, like, in a way, his music has kind of gotten through to a lot of people. And, like, that's kind of the whole point of his trip, is to show people that there's no difference. And at the beginning of the movie, he kind of does it more of like it's more of a responsibility.
That's also how he lives his life dangerously.
Yeah.
Because his life is so little thrill. He's going down south specifically to try to find trouble, I feel.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, and support.
I think it's more it's more of like, it's stubborn. It's more of like, it's entitlement. Like, he should be entitled, and he thinks he's entitled, so he
sits on a throne.
Yeah,
Literal
exactly. Like, he kind of seems like he's almost like he deserves more than he's getting, and that's why he's always angry, and that's why he never finds human connection. It's because he's always angry.
Well, they talk about, because Tony says that, he says to the band, the two guys in the trio, why does he do this? Like, why does he go play for all of these white people who don't respect him and tell him that he can't pee in the bathroom in their house and things like that? And they say, like, that's why he does these tours, because to change people's mind, you have to be like compassionate or whatever. I don't remember the direct quote, but I think it's also him trying to make it a more to change people's minds in a way, like in the way that he can. It might be like a small part of it. Obviously, you're not going to change racism in the South in 1962, but I think for him, maybe it's, yes, he is the most talented piano player in the world, but also he's trying to prove a point, like by showcasing that to the people down there.
Yeah.
To make them hopefully be less pieces of shit.
I can't even imagine playing a show that type of, like, that level of professional music, playing a show to someone in someone's fucking mansion, and then being told, like, oh no, you can't use the bathroom in here. You have to go use the bathroom.
Staff, like, outhouse.
Yeah. It looks like shit. And you have to go prepare in this fucking janitor's closet.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Yeah, ridiculous.
And then can't even eat at the restaurant that he's playing at.
Yeah.
And they end up not even playing that show because of it.
I loved that.
He
I love that they
basically lets Tony make the decision.
Yeah.
Like, all right, fuck him, let's get out of here.
Yeah.
They go eat down the chicken shack down the street.
I liked that scene too, because Don Shirley looked like Tony's ready to beat the crap out of that restaurant manager in the hallway, and Don Shirley stops him because he keeps trying to teach him, like, you don't have to do everything with hate, you know, and he looks at Tony and says, I'll do it if you want me to.
Yeah.
Like, I'll do the show here with these horrible people if you want me to, because he knows that if he doesn't make it to every show, it's going to reflect on Tony's job.
Right.
That
and he
was
doesn't
his
get paid all the
responsibility,
money.
and he won't get paid. So he looks at him and he says, like, basically it's like, this is dehumanizing me on every level, but if you want me to do it, I will. And I thought that was a really powerful, like, moment for them as, like, friends. Yeah. I liked that a lot.
And the final negative interaction with the restaurant scene was when he was going to play at that specific mansion, and they wouldn't let him eat in the restaurant.
That's what I'm talking about. That was the scene I'm talking about.
Yeah. So yeah, then we see the movie at the end. We see them go their separate ways at the end of the tour. They make it back. And Don Shirley's sitting in his room of glorified elephant tusks and all these imports from Africa, all lonely. And you see Tony go back to his Italian family, and he's happy, but he also kind of wishes that Don Shirley was there. By the way, they did the 1960s New York Italian family really well. Just like they did it well in, like, Do the Right Thing and all those other movies.
Bafamgu.
But yeah, no, Don Shirley finally walks to the door up at Tony's, and then the movie ends on a really high note. His family kind of all embraces him, and it's
they have like
good.
A half-second hesitation, and then it's like, oh, everyone make room.
Yeah.
That was great.
So yeah, final thoughts on this movie, Rob, and letter grade and number grade.
This may not have been my favorite movie of the year, but I definitely think it was the best acted movie of the year. And it's still in my top 3, I would say.
Yeah.
I mean, there may have been 1 or 2 movies I enjoyed more, but I thought this was a better movie, if that makes sense.
In terms of the
you
quality.
can enjoy a movie more and think of, like, you can have a movie that you think is better but not be your favorite.
Yeah. As far as a rating goes, probably like a 9.5 to a 9.75.
Yeah.
Not getting that 10, though.
No, it's...
the unattainable 10?
It's tough.
Have you given anything a 10 this year?
No.
No?
I gave that shitty horror movie, The Possession of Hannah Grace, an 11.
Well, that doesn't count.
On the shittiness scale?
And on the enjoyable scale.
On the fun scale.
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
But no, this movie, I mean, it's hard to make a perfect movie, but I would say this is as close as it gets.
Yeah.
In terms of acting, script. The music was good, it fit with it.
Yeah. Soundtrack.
On-screen chemistry. All really, really high scores in those departments, I would say.
Yeah. I gave it a 9.5 also. I would give it a 10, but like I never give it a 10 just because I feel like there's always there's always something that if I give it something a 10 and something else comes out that I feel like did execute something better, I'm not going to give that a 10 also. So I won't ever give it 10. I'll try not to. But 9.5 is literally as high as I go in terms of ratings. So everything kind of hit a T here. The acting was phenomenal. The writing was some of the best. The cinematography was great, and the lighting was great. Everything was just amazing with this movie. I mean, I sat through the entire movie, and I kind of just wanted to keep going. I could have watched it for a few more hours. I cried a lot. I laughed a lot. I think that if there's a movie that you could see that you're going to get the most for your money, it would be this movie, hands down. If you by chance somehow have a chance to see it in theaters, go see it in theaters. If you don't, buy it. Don't even rent it. You're going to want to watch it again and add it to your collection. That's just my opinion. 9 out of 5. I mean, 9.5? 9.5 out of 10.
9 out of 5? I didn't even realize you said 5 at first. It gets a 9.5 from me as well. I think that this movie and probably A Quiet Place, my top 2 for the year. I loved everything about it. I don't think I have a single complaint on this movie. It was great. I laughed, I cried, same as you. It just makes your heart feel good. It does.
Yeah.
I was smiling the whole movie. Obviously, there are parts that made me really sad for the world and angry, but for the most part, I was just sitting there with a grin on my face watching these two characters interact with each other because their chemistry on screen was just, dark, gritty movies about crime, like Eastern Promises and History of Violence. Also, he plays Aragorn in Lord of the Rings. And then Mahershala Ali, who plays...
much better
pronunciation. Thank you. He plays Don Shirley, but he's not in a lot. It seems like he's most recently starting to find a breakout in getting lead roles. He has a lot of smaller roles, and then he worked on he was one of the leads in Moonlight, and that's where he really took off. Another incredible movie. And then he's in the upcoming 3rd season of True Detective we've seen lately, so that's going to be something to look forward to. In general, I think anything he does is going to be something to check out. It was great seeing him perform. But anyway, we did our final reviews. Anything to plug this week, Rob?
Same as usual. Like, rate, subscribe. Give it the 5 stars on iTunes. Bring it up on the little list thing that they got there going.
Yeah. Taylor?
Same.
That's it?
That's it.
All right. So, thanks for tuning in, everyone. Brutally Honest Reviews, only on the Brutally Honest Network. Today, I'm drinking Two Roads, Too Juicy for a beer. I know I didn't do it last week. It's decent. Check it out, I guess.
I like it.
Yeah, it's got the Taylor seal of approval.
8.2%.
8.2%.
That's stronger than I can usually drink, and I like it, so.
Mm-hmm.
Check it out. Try it out.
Stay tuned. Hop Top Films Brutally Honest Network is coming to you soon with a new comedy show. I just finished reading the first script, and I am meeting on Saturday to go over the next draft of the script, and we're going to be shooting sometime in January. That's going to be for an office-style comedy show. We have a music show where we just got all of our materials we need to put that show together, so that's going to be coming down the pipeline pretty soon. And we have another show, kind of hush-hush, that's going to be happening next year, based on focus and healthy eating and basically cooking in a healthy way that's not so gross. So stay tuned for that. I don't think I can announce anything yet. But have a good week, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Peace.